When I throw video up on the video screens, most often it's something I have to come up with that's not too offensive.
Yeah, everybody has a different style of VJ. What's your style?
Lots and lots of cocks and asses. You can't forget about the asses. Hairy buttholes opening and closing like screen doors, flapping in the breeze. And cocks. Don't forget. Well, most typically, if it's a live event, people like seeing people are dancing around and having a good time. People like seeing people respond well to images of body movement. Other people dancing up on the screen. And if it's timed with music, that works out really well. More often and most recently, it seems like abstract visuals are the way to go. Using audio reactive or generative stuff, crazy lines and shapes and whatnot, and less representative imagery. That's not why I got into DJing to begin with. I got into it kind of from a fine art background and being really into the work of Brian Geisen and Burroughs, doing cut-up poetry, right? And being able to make a new narrative from lots of different clips, like a cut-up poem, right? I can take all these different elements and make a new story. But when you're at the club, it's more often people are there just to, drink and try to get laid if possible, or at least not slapped. And I found that people aren't really giving a shit about the narrative. And part of it is, my own artistic desire, but if I'm being paid to be there, I kind of have to try to make the audience happy. And the audience is happier when they are not totally challenged in the situation. I mean, not all audiences everywhere. They're not really challenged or stressed out by what they're saying. So sometimes I have to put my personal taste aside. And then it's time for strong buttocks, flexing, sweating, oozing, Santorum. There's two things that depend on two different things. The first thing is it a job? Am I doing this for a client? Or is it my own personal work? All right? If it's a job, then I have two different considerations. Am I trying to make the audience happy, or am I trying to make the client happy? All right? You can be hired to do a job, and what the job is not necessarily what the client wants. So sometimes, as a contractor, you have to decide, do you want the client to be happy and do a shitty job, or do you want to do a good job and make the client unhappy? And believe it or not, that's something that happens a lot. In the first situation, if it's just me for my work, then I have considerations in terms of, am I trying to make the audience happy, or am I trying to just get myself off? Or is there a way to get myself off and make the audience happy? And usually it's situationally based. It really depends on who's looking at your work, where they're looking at your work, what their patience level is. Sometimes you get audience that they'll be patient with you, and they'll kind of come along, and you can bore them or annoy them if you promise them, imply that there's going to be a payoff or some kind of climax. Then you can kind of make people go on a little journey with you. But if you have an audience that's very impatient, maybe you don't get to do that. Maybe you have to. It's like a freaking Michael Bay movie. Do a bunch of big explosions right away. Let people know that, okay, you've got some explosions. Now, I can kind of pull back and do my own thing, but I believe there'll be more explosions later on. So you have to first, what's your environment? Second, what's your audience? And sometimes your environment changes your audience. I could have the same group of 100 people. If they're in the club, they want one thing. If they are here at the Westin Hotel for an Gibson 2018 Latin kickoff, they may want something else. Yeah, actually, this is a good situation of not making the audience happy, making the client happy. The audience probably doesn't want it. What I'm doing here is, I do have slasher movies going on, but what I've been tasked with is to do slideshows of these people in Dockers and date rape shirts, and really goofy looking sweater vests, hugging each other and talking about how great their business is. That's not what they want to see tonight. Tonight's like the big party, like the we're all going home party. they would much rather see some graphics. They would much rather see some codes in different area codes. They would much rather see like some really exciting, vibrant colors and some imagery that like leaps out at you and makes them feel good. And what they're going to be seeing instead, which is what I've been tasked to do, is remind them that they're all working for us. And, you know, can't let the hoi polloi forget their chains for even a second. Don't take no shit from nobody. Do whatever the fuck you want to do. Don't let nobody tell you that you can't do it, because you can. Motherfuckers tell you you can't do it, they're lazy assholes. If you want to do something and you think you can do it better than somebody else, you do it. It's better to ask for forgiveness and permission.